Hi everyone, I am Yuji Urita. Welcome to my YouTube channel. Today I want to talk about a reference handbook by the title Elementary Education that was written by Jones and Harman. In this occasion, I only talk about two chapters from the book. Those are Chapter 5 and Chapter 7. Chapter 5 Elementary School Curriculum. Before I start, there are two basic questions. Those are what is the curriculum and what is instruction? Curriculum. Curriculum is what students learn in school or learning experiences, whereas instruction refers to the way the teacher presents the curriculum. There are three components of curriculum: explicit curriculum, implicit curriculum or hidden curriculum, and extra curriculum. Explicit curriculum, which is the knowledge or skills directly taught by the teachers. Implicit curriculum or hidden curriculum, which consists of the value, norms, and behaviors that students learn by social interaction. Extracurriculum, which are activities outside of formal school hours, like volleyball club, football club, and etc. A number of factors that is influenced the elementary school curriculum. One, the philosophy of school district. Two, the textbooks and materials. Three, state and local districts. And four, district and state tests. But special at national level, curriculum is influenced by political initiatives. Not only that, curriculum is also influenced by professional organizations such as the National Research Council or the National Council. Elementary school curriculum consists by three items: subjects, instructional time, and focus. Subjects like mathematics, science, art, language, and etc. Instructional time, minimum 5 hours a day, include the recess and lunch. Focus. Elementary school curriculum focus on reading and writing. Elementary school curriculum is divided by two grades. First, third grade is for mastering the basic skills of reading, writing, and arithmetics. Second, fourth, and fifth grade are considered upper primary, and the curricula contain more subjects content. Elementary Education or Early Childhood Education by Powell in 1987. Prior to the introduction of early interventions programs such as Head Start in 1965 and Project Follow Stroke in 1967, variations in early childhood curricula were minimal at best. Before 1965, the variety of early childhood education curricula was very limited. Following the introduction of the Head Start program in 1965 and Project Follow Track in 1967, there was a need for a curriculum appropriate for children from low-income families. In the late 1970s and early 1980s, interest in early childhood education curricula waned. However, in the late 1980s, there was a resurgence due to the widespread concerns about low quality early childhood education services. Calls for education reform and research by national organization in effective educational practices. Today, people are most interested in early childhood curriculum models because of new changes and trends in education by Goffin and Wilson 2001. It's because five reasons. One, the growth of state finance pre-kindergarten programs. 2. Goals 2000 and goal that all children will enter school ready to learn. 3. Concerned about the low academic achievement of children from low-income families. 4. Findings from the research on the neuroscience of brain development. 5. Occurrence of low-quality, center-based family child care. Next, DIP or developmentally appropriate practices. It was introduced by NIEYC in 1987 based on the ideas of Piaget and Vygotsky. DIP means that teaching young children should match their age, their individual needs, and their cultural background. It suggests that children learn best through play, exploration, and real experiences, not through too much formal teaching, lectures, and worksheets. Research shows that play-based learning can reduce stress and help children develop reading, writing, and social skills. Supporters say GIP helps children grow in a healthy way. Next, early childhood curriculum model. The main idea of early childhood curriculum models are a curriculum models is a plan of framework that guides how to teach young children. It helps in making decisions about goals, teaching methods, activities, and evaluations. All models are based on child development theories. Some models are very structured. Teachers follow detailed scripts, while others are more flexible. Teachers decide how to use the principles. Curriculum models can be used in school, Head Start, and community programs. Next, the creative curriculum. The creative curriculum for preschool is pulled from different theories and new research about how children learn, how the brain works, and what teaching methods fit their development. There are some approaches that can be used by teacher to teach, like the creative curriculum, hike or scope curriculum, Banks Reed developmental interaction approach, Montessori method, Reggio Emilia approach, Waldorf approach, the project approach, child-oriented versus academical-oriented programs, theme-based model, kindergarten curriculum. Many public schools are changing how they teach young children. The goal is to make learning more suitable for children's development and family needs. Public schools are becoming more child-centered. Learning is now more flexible, practical, and fair, giving students choices and support instead of punishment. Full day kindergarten offers many learning and social benefits and helps children feel less stressed. However, some people worry that teachers might start adding too much academic instruction, which is not always suitable for young children's development. Elementary curriculum consists of 17 items. Those are language arts, reading, writing, mathematics, technology, character education and moral education, multicultural education, creativity, science, social studies, physical education, wellness, and health education, fine arts, multiple intelligences, affection curriculum, differentiation, and role models and mentors. Family and community involvement. Next, Chapter 7 Special Programs in Elementary Education. About 10% students in public schools have special needs. Special education provides lessons and support to help these students learn and success. Today, many students with special needs join regular classroom, where special education teachers work with regular teachers to give extra help. Students with exceptionalities can be grouped into five categories: learning or thinking difficulties, social or behavioral problem, delays in thinking or social skills, physical or sensory challenges, advanced thinking abilities. Students with cognitive or academic difficulties. Students who fall in this category are students with learning disabilities, students with attention deficit hyperactive disorder or ADHD, students with speech and communication disorders, students with social or behavioral problems. Students with social or behavioral problems have emotional and behavioral disorders. Students may not be able to establish and maintain interpersonal relationships, suffer from depressions or anxiety for lengths of time, have mood swings, and be very aggressive or exhibition antisocial behaviors. Autism. Autism is a brain-related condition that affects social interaction and communication. Autistic students often prefer being alone, have trouble talking, repeat actions, and may have strong focus on certain objects. They do best in structured environments with clear rules and routines. Teaching strategies includes keeping a regular schedule using visual aids and adding music to lessons. Students with delay in cognitive and social functioning. Mentally retarded students have delays in thinking and learning skills. They often struggle with reading, writing, understanding abstract ideas, and doing tasks without clear instructions. They may also feel frustrated about fitting in at school. Teaching strategies include going slowly, giving clear instructions, breaking tasks into small steps, and encouraging independence. Students with physical or sensory challenges. Students with physical or sensory challenges have physical or medical conditions that require specialist instruction, curriculum, equipment, and facilities. Conditions that qualify students for special education are traumatic brain or spinal cord injuries. Mainstreaming versus self-contained classroom. Including students with special needs in regular classroom is both supports and criticized. Supporters believe in Supporters believe it improves students' learning behavior and confidence through interaction with others. Critics argue that these students may not get enough special help or attention. Today, teachers from both general and special education work together to create inclusive and supportive classroom for all learners. Educational strategies for students with disabilities. Teachers can help students with disabilities by learning about their needs, working with specialists, and communication with families. They should adjust lessons, teach needed skills, and involve students in decisions. Teachers also need to support social interaction and believe every student can succeed. Gifted and talented students. Gifted students have high abilities in thinking, creativity, and learning, so they need special programs that challenge them. Many are not identified because teachers like training or tests are not fair for all cultures. Some gifted students also having learning some gifted students also have learning disabilities called twice exceptional. They may struggle emotionally because their minds develop faster than their feelings. Teachers need to understand their unique needs and provide both academic and emotional support. School should give fair assessment and help gifted students reach their full potential. Intelligence testing. Intelligence testing starts with based idea that linked intelligence to race and heredity. Later, tastes like the saffron binet were developed, but they favored white, middle-class students and were unfair to students of color. Many scholars thought that environment, language, and culture not rates affect test results. Even today, tests still show gaps between groups, so teachers should teach test strategies, reduce anxiety, and support all students fairly. School must also ensure that testing is culturally fair and inclusive for every student. Bilingual education programs. The USA has many students who speak different languages, but most teachers only speak English. Bilingual education helps these students learn in both English and their native language. Laws like the Bilingual Education Act protect the right to fair learning. These programs build cultural pride, improve learning, and help students success in school. School reform movement. The standards-based accountability movement began in the 1990s to improve low students' achievement in public school. School had to meet state standards using research-based reform models that focus on teaching, curriculum, and community involvement. Programs like Title I and the Comprehensive School Reform Project give funds to help disadvantaged schools improve learning. Other programs, such as Struggling Student Success Early, this, kita lanjut nih. Other programs, such as Reading Recovery and Head Start, focus on helping young and struggle students succeed early. These reforms are made to make education fairer, raise achievement, and better prepare all children for the future. Okay, guys, before I close, I have one quote for Malcolm. Education is the passport to the future, but tomorrow belongs to those who prepare for it today. That's all for me. Thank you very much. See you to the next video.